the final one, Barts, the sexy area. Everyone loves the forward line, and Liverpool's forward line is unrecognisable from last season for a multitude of reasons, and just feels good to be able to actually do this and drag him on the pitch. But Liverpool's two number nines, no, and it's probably right for me to put Ekitike more left of the two. No one possesses two number nines like this, really, in the Premier League. Absolutely not. Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike, who, cost a pretty penny each, different amounts, but bring a real threat. And that's what I want to talk to you about, because I know people will talk about the goals, and of course you want the outcome to be goals, but analysts talk about the threat that these two bring, especially as we look at Isak right between the sticks and the threat he brings. Ekitike, sometimes coming from the left as well, but you purchase the threat, as they talk about, analysts, which hopefully turns into goals. The threat from these two is pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah, I think anybody who doesn't think these are good signings are biased beyond belief, if I'm being honest with you, right? Ekitike, for ostensibly supposedly being the backup or whatever else, has scored he got a goal disallowed the weekend, right? But he'd scored 3 goals in 3 games up to that point. And I thought has fitted in, very, very well. Yeah. So I think, that's just him as supposed to be a chap. But Isak, sorry. In terms of threat, so last season, 0.8 was the threat that he had from passes and crosses. All right. Marpar doesn't have the dribbles, but so that's already higher than our other 2 number 9s last season. Just getting the exact figure for you, but I think they're around 0.2. So Jota, God rest his soul, 0.05, and Nine is 0.03. So the 2 combined was 0.8, and Isak is 0.9. Right, so Isak comes in last season, create more threat. Right, Hugo, we know. I think we looked at this. I will just bring up to double check, but was in and around the same ballpark as he was, because in the first half of the season he played with Mamouche before he went to City, and he was a bit more the creator. Right, so he had 0.7 last season. Right, so again, better than the ones he's replacing. So I think you're buying a 9 that isn't just going to score you goals; it's going to help create as well, right? Which is something to take on board. If you want pure goals and assist numbers, which people get obsessed by, we've stole 57 of those. Yeah. So out the door when Nunes, Diaz, and Harvey and Chiesa last season was a little bit, but he's in there, right? So, and we've replaced that with Isak at 33 goal involvements. Hugo at 34 goal involvements. And Flo at 30. Yeah, if you include him in the bracket with Harvey, replacing Harvey. And in terms of minutes, which other people will talk about as being, this is a concern, we've lost this amount of minutes. So last season, if you include the players I just said, was just over 8,500 minutes, right? And replaced it with 10,000 minutes with less players. So, yes, we're a body down, but we've got more goals than assists, and we've got more minutes. So, and you've got more threat from just our 2 9s, let alone the threat that Flo gives you, right? So, and yes, I'm sure you come on to it, is there competition for Cody is probably a question mark that people are talking about. I know you did a show with Trev talking about whether Rodgers was a real thing or not, whether that was going to come in. But Cody was the first pick for left wing last season. That was just, he played more minutes out there than anybody else. So that Cody's just doing the things he was doing last season. He's just slightly out of form this year. And as you quite rightly said, Flo could still drift out there in some games, right? Because he played there for Leverkusen. So, but I think in terms of what we've brought for the 2 9s, we've brought goal involvement, we've brought goal threat, and they're just the availability. Isak, all right, people can still worry about him, but he played over 3,000 minutes last season. That's a good chunk of change, right? And Hugo played 3,500 minutes. So I think between the 2 of them is good. Will they play together? That would be interesting. I think that would require a shape change. I'm not sure Hugo gives you exactly what we need of the left, but we shall see as it goes a bit further down. But no, yeah, threat, goals, minutes are all increased by these two coming in.
Just, yeah, it really is a frightening prospect for Premier League defences. I suppose, I'm just taking off Hugo Ekitike off the pitch, people. I'm not removing him from anything. Gakpo is important to mention in that sense because he had that competition. It seemed like last season, it was always the option. If Gakpo wasn't doing it, Diaz would come on and vice versa, but switch them at any point. Is there any worry? I mean, he signed a renewal as well, so it seems very comfortable a little bit for Cody at the left-hand side. Again, as you said, we'll have to see if Ekitike goes there. There's a bit of uncertainty around that. Well, how's Gakpo doing so far on the left-hand side? And is there any concerns in the stats from that, the lack of a senior competition? And not being derogatory of Rio, but he is a kid, great camera, but minimal minutes.
I think there is a slight concern. I don't, in any of the three games, I'm just double checking the second one. Cody's past success isn't anywhere near you would expect. So 78 the weekend, 65 against Newcastle, and low 70s for Bournemouth. Okay, so considering he's playing, it's a 4-2-3-1 this season. It's not a 4-3-3, right? So he's slightly deeper. So you would expect him to be able to receive the ball and pass it better. So in the first game, he's receiving success with 89%. As we covered when we did this, his receiving success at Newcastle was appalling at 69%, right? Which is really bad when you're the outball, right? You are the outball. And how was it at the weekend? Let's have a double check on that. 87, so a little bit better, but still the worst out of the front players. So there are parts of his game that he wasn't doing, it was like 7 passes into the final third. He's generally, that's low for him. He's also normally receives those, but he's not receiving the high volume as he was because he's not in the right position to do that, right? So but the annoying's the wrong word. It's fortunate for us. He's still getting threat because he's got 2 assists, right? He's got 2 goals and 2 assists. I think it's right. So it says a goal involvement as a one stat to pick out. You'd be like, oh, what's your problem? You know, but it's everything else that goes with that. How is he functioning in the system? I don't think it's as effective off the ball the weekends. I mean, we pulled out Mac for being not great, right? Defensively, Cody was at 57% dual rate, right? 67% aerial rate. He didn't stop any threat coming in his way either, right? And that's from the fullback. It's not the winger, it's the fullback. So it should be a little bit easier to deal with, right? So, and that's unfortunately a bit of a trend over the first 3 games. None of Cody's stats, bar things like the direct goals and assists, are anywhere near they were last season. So I think you're right to put out, and several others have said, if there's going to be a tweak in the system, the player to miss out is probably going to be Cody.
It's that you say, because there are headline stats and people will back those, but you've got to be honest about, think of his 2 assists, for instance. Against Newcastle, he passes it to Grab. It's the shot that makes the goal. It's not really a proper assist, I wouldn't say, in that regard. For Ekitike's one, it's Ekitike's finish, isn't it, rather than the assist. And actually, if you remember it, Gakpo has a shot which is blocked and comes back to him, and then he squares. So it's not like quite a piercing ball type of assist there either. It is something that I do wonder about, that with Diaz gone, the competition, how much there is for him. Does he fancy Ekitike left? Will Vert get chances to drift there? Is it, me and you and so many would like him to? It is one to keep an eye on to see. And I suppose the overall for the forward line, obviously because of the set circumstances, there were 6 senior centre forwards last season. There's now 5 and young Rio in the mix. But for everything that's happened, the money spent, the circumstances, it is important just to emphasise the one thing there is, and listen, the 6 last season, and of all, title-winning medals, no one's going to debate that. There's real threat, though, with Isak and Ekitike coming in, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think we've already seen that, right? Literally, Newcastle game, you said it. It was Cody took a stupid shot, and then it was a stupid shot. Should be a pass. It rebounds, one touch, and Ekitike has gone, right, cheers, mate, I'll put it in the bottom corner. And we're 2-0 up. But on another day, we see that game now 2-0. We said that at the time, right? First game of the season, a little bobble on that, and then he's in, and he takes a chance, finishes. Yeah. Community Shield, yes, it's a friendly, it's not well, but the finish was brilliant. Again, no back lift, nothing. I'm just going to put it in the corner. And then he was there at the weekend. Cody was offside, but who was there mopping up the pieces to put it in the back of the net? Ekitike with the flow shot. So it's pleasing for me to see him in and around the right areas, and isn't even thinking, he's like, right, I'm just going to put that in the net, and then I'll worry about it later on. And I think his build-up play is really coming on. I think Newcastle, there was a period he was getting a bit bullied. I mean, Dan Burn is a Premier League centre-half, right?
Of course.
People get bullied by him all the time, but he's still, Ekitike grew into it a little bit. He had a couple of runs. He was trying to be physical. He was doing it. And at the weekend, I thought he did well against let's be honest here, Arsenal defence is exceptional. And I think he held his own in many of the elements. I've just put up his defensive stats for Ekitike. Forward, 40% duel rate. Okay, but he's up against probably the other two centre halves who have anywhere that could be near BBD, right? So he's doing his bits. He stopped all the threat that came his way in that game, which isn't a lot up there, but it's still. So I think there's elements that I find really pleasing about him, and he's not slow. And then you bring in the guy that hasn't played, but he's going to play for Sweden, obviously, at the weekend to get his fitness up ready for Liverpool. But and it's just a similar profile. We've said that all summer, you and I, when we've looked at the profiles, they're very similar. Isak likes to be down the middle more. He's very right-footed. I think he's the overperformance on his XG for right foot, underperformance on the left, and he's about half his header. Ekitike, funnily enough, he's underperformance on his head, and I think he's about up and down on his left and right. So there's the differences there. And again, we've already seen that with Hugo, a couple of balls that come in with the headers, and Hugo's missed them, right? They've been in 6 shots out. So
true.
They have similarities and slight differences. But again, the thing that pleases me is that I think for periods last season, yes, you can't knock them. We won the title with them. But there were a lot of chances missed, right? We create a lot of opportunity in the box. And a couple of times, come on, just finish that. And it didn't happen. Or there was no one there to take the opportunity on. Because Diaz was really good, right? I'm not knocking Diaz. There's a lot of people who thought that we should have given him the contract, right? Okay, cool. He had 22 goal contributions last season, I think it was. So that's really good numbers. But there was also periods when he was playing in the 9 that he wasn't in the box and he missed stuff. And I think with Ekitike and Isak signing, we're not going to have that problem anymore. That we are going to have a 9 in the box. So any half chances that fall down, they're just going to go, cheers, thank you, and that's 1-0 to us. And that relieves pressure in a different way. So, I think as a combination, I don't think there's anyone in the Premier League that can match those, to be fair, as a pair of options in the 9. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't think there's anywhere close, especially because it looks like, could be wrong, but Gyökeres turns like an Arctic tanker, doesn't he, a little bit as well, but probably will bully the smaller teams. It will be fascinating to see. And look at that, people. We didn't even get the option just to drag Endo onto the pitch, to put a gum shield in and just kick the fuck out of everything for a minute or two at the end like he did against Arsenal. So there you go at the same time. A fascinating summer. I suppose I'll give you the final word on this, Barts. But everything that happened this summer, absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? A great summer, great recruitment. I know it would have been gay for, the perfect recruitment thing, scenario, whatever you want to call it. But we've got to be more than happy with what was recruited.
100%. I think if you're not happy with that squad now, I don't think football's for you. I genuinely think that is a phenomenal first team squad. And you just snapped his arm off for that at the beginning of it. Lifted the trophy in May, and someone said to you, this is cool. If you have a look at the squad for next season, you'd have gone, yeah, right, I love that. The other thing that I find amazing is the players we've sold. The recruitment, we've brought players in that are brilliant, but we've also managed to move players on, which meant our net spend, whatever else. But still, it's an important point to make in, right? We're still lower than many of the teams around us, right? So we've still shown that we can sell as well as we can buy. We all love Harvey, but that's a cracking deal for him to go play in Villa, and then we get money and that's a great move for him. So Morton going to Lyon for £10 million for a kid who's hardly played for us. So I think as much as the ins are really exciting, I also wish all the players well as they move on. They go and get their career, and we've got money for them. So I think it's been really good business for the club. It started with the goalkeeper from Valencia finally signing. Yeah. Ended with a last-minute deal at 9 o'clock on a Monday night, if you believe the media that was out there, and Isak coming in to be the best number 9 in the league. So, yeah, it was a great journey. I know you were working endless nights trying to make sure we're all right and probably ready for a rest, ready for January, right?
Too right, yeah. If we could just keep winning, then that's what it's all about. But the recruitment overall, people, absolutely sensational. So there we go. We gave you the stats, we gave you the lowdown, we gave you a bit of analysis on everything that happened there. All it leaves me to say is ever is Barts for the time, for going through us or with us for everything. It is massively appreciated.
No worries, anytime.
And ladies and gents, that was another TMM special for Anfield Index.